Hey Yagaho guys, welcome to week 2 of the GBA here in season 4, where last week we picked up a nice big 6-0 victory over the Pittsburgh Piratas, and this week we're going to open divisional play against the Detroit Steelwings. Their coach CrimsonCBAD got 5-0'd in the previous week, and kind of had a pan draft. He drafted Mega Beedrill with his first pick, and then left 60 points on the board despite taking OUB Mega. So he's not really been given much of a chance in the same division as myself and John, but that's why we actually, go and play the games on the field. And that pause there was because Camtasia is being stupid. Anyway, looks like I did turn the camera on at a correct time this week, so that's good. We'll go ahead and take a look at his team and what he's got and what he doesn't. And what he does have is Gothitelle, Sableye, Jolteon, Chandelure, Mega Beedrill, and Clefable. And not appearing, you have Feraligatr, Claydol, Skarmory, Weezing, and Rhyperior. I think that's all of them. Anyway, a bit of a change this week is that I'm not going to go into very much detail as I usually do, because we will actually play him again in week 5, so I don't want to go into all the insight on, I analyzed this about the team and whatnot, because, with the exception of maybe one poke due to free agency, his team comp will be mostly the same for week 5, so I don't want to give away any, potential future strategies as well. Anyway, I will go ahead and pop up my team, though, because you'll see most of this in the fight anyway. We have a Spinner Starmie with leftovers, and some attacks. Scald, probably? Yeah, it's definitely Scald. And T-Bolt, I believe. We have a 4 attack, Life Orb, Lucario. We have a Speedy Blissey, yeah, that's right. We got some Speedy Vs on this Bliss, which you'll actually get to see. And just running Shadow Ball, because that seems pretty safe. We got standard, smash everything in the face Aggron that I typically like to run. We got a physically defensive Dusknoir. Dusknoir gets involved this week. We got 2 guys. Actually, 3 pokes coming in this week that we did not get to use last week. Well, 4 if you count Megazard, who was also here with DD and Roost. Didn't actually get to hit the field last week. Dusknoir is kind of your typical stuff, physically defensive this week. Your general Will-O-Wisp, Shadow Sneak, Pain Split type stuff that Noir likes to do. Threw Protect on there for a 4th move, amongst some other options just for extra lefties gain and extra burn stall. So that's pretty much the team. Let's go ahead and jump into the fight. A little bit of again, a little short of a team intro this week because I don't want to go too in-depth on everything since we do, play again in 3 weeks. Alright, so we're going to lead out with Zardex because either something's going to get outsped or it's going to be Jolteon. Leads up to be the latter. So that means we're just going to immediately go ahead and get our Mega Evolution off because I'd kind of like to take not 50% from Stealth Rock should he get it up at the time I bring in Charizard, which I think the only thing he has to set up rocks is Clefable actually. So, but I'd also like to go ahead and get that Dragon typing so that I can switch in on Jolteon T-Bolts if need be, instead of, having the flying typing being weak to them. So, just one of those nice, type matchup reversals that you get with the Mega Evolution into Zardex. So I'm just going to stay in, and I'm just going to truck somebody with a Flare Blitz. It's probably going to 2-hit KO anything on his team at this point, just because, Zardex is really strong. And he Volt Switches, and that does quite a bit, and I can tell from that, as he, while he's deciding what he wants to go into with Volt Switch, I'm going to run a calc here and determine that is a Choice Specs Jolteon, so seems like a sensible run since I don't have any ground types, so yeah, there we go. So he drops Single Fable. We're going to see how much this does, and Flare Blitz does a pretty hefty chunk, but not enough for me to see that is a specially defensive Clefable. That is definitely a physically defensive Clefable, so I could just go ahead and try to finish him off right here. However, I don't like the spot that puts me in with Charizard, as even though it would of course be nice to get rid of his dragon immunity so I can start dragon clawing everything. I'm just gonna go ahead and pull a Roost here, and see what he wants to do. I need Charizard at decent amounts of hit points, especially if rocks become a thing that he ends up having to come into. So yeah, we're just gonna pull a Roost here because the thing is, at this point, if I Flare Blitz Clefable, Jolteon can now come in, and I'll be at too low hit points to be able to survive a Volt Switch. So I need to Roost here. And he ends up soft boiling as well. If he had Thunder Wave there, it would have been kind of okay because I do have Blissey to with Aromatherapy to clear that off if need be. but he just wants to heal up as well. So here I could either stay in with Zard and start hitting things, namely this Clefable, but we've seen how much Flare Blitz does to it, and I don't really want to use up Zard's hit points that much on Flare Blitz recoil. Again, this is physically defensive Clefable, so yeah, we're definitely plugging that, and plug it into the notes. As you guys know, I keep Notepad up the whole match and keep track of how much HP percentage stuff is at, and also what moves it's used, and also, what the EV spread it looks like it is, held items, etc. We're going to drop in Aggron, because that's what we do on Clefables, because we don't afraid of Clefables, and he reveals Counter. So it is a very good thing that I did not stay in and try to just smash his face in with Flare Blitz, so, because Zard would have been dead. So here's Aggron, and at this point I'm like, you know what? If Aggron just can do a good chunk to Clefable, most of my team outspeeds it and can just finish it off. So, if I can essentially trade Aggron for Clefable, I'm okay with that. I'm not happy about it, but I would kind of be okay with it, as this is, Aggron is the, anti-Clefable thing that's going on here. So I'm just gonna click Iron Head, since it's stab super effective. We don't need to chance the head smash, and of course we could pick up a nice flinch, which would negate the counter. And here we go, Iron Head, manly move, very manly move, and it's so manly that Clefable is unable. Clefable is male as well, but is unable to pull off its move. It's just too in awe of Aggron's manliness right now. So that's gonna be Clefable at low HP and a still alive Aggron. I did ask him after the game if he went for counter there, and indeed, of course, he did. And yeah, so luck is on our side right now. We picked up a nice flinch right there, and Aggron's going to use Earthquake to finish off Clefable, just in case he wanted to, do something like try to preserve it by switching into Jolteon on an Iron Head or something like that. He had no ground immunities on his team. Actually, does he have any at all? He's got Weezing, but yeah, but he brought no ground immunities on this team, so I figured EQ was a pretty alright go for right there. So Aggron with a kill. Not gonna be in the negative differential this game. It's guaranteed, so that's cool. And waiting to see what he drops in now, and thinking about it. Looking at what he has, we could see Jolteon just for some Volt Switch action. He obviously sees some Life Orb, so there's no threat of any sort of, I don't know, whatever. I'm filling time while he makes his decision on what to go for. I'm just happy that Aggron's picked up a kill. So here's this thing, and based on his roster, I figure this Chandelure is going to have a tendency to be scarfed, and it's likely going to be the case this week, so I need to see what he wants to go for, first and foremost, and he just goes straight for Overheat, so Zardex would have been fine. Many takes a good chunk from that, but it's enough that I'm pretty sure that it's going to be scarfed. I think because of damage variation, it could have potentially been, I think it could have been Timid Specs or Modest Scarf, just because Modest gives him that big a special attack bonus with 145 base. It would have been high roll versus low roll, but I'm going to assume for the moment that it's Scarf just because that makes the most sense. So here, I'm fully expecting Gothitelle to come in, and if I'm ever going to set up Stealth Rock, which is what Medi has, I'm going to have to let Gothitelle come in, and that's why this Medi is actually geared towards being able to take on Gothitelle. So I go and get Stealth Rock up before I have any chance of being taunted, and that's all well and fine. Thankfully, because we have Blissey instead of Chansey, I'm recovering HP, so that's cool. So Blissey outspeeds Gothitelle. Blissey has a base 55 speed, if you guys didn't know, and then proceeds to get taunted. So we're just going to start firing off Shadow Balls. I can see from how much damage that does that it's going to be the sort of Gothitelle that's the max HP, max special defense, Calm Mindy setup in your face type stuff. And, I'm not at all worried about it going forward, Calm Minds and going for a sweep, unless potentially... that just doesn't seem likely. Yeah, I'm not that worried about Gothitelle, going in and, sweeping me, even if it gets up to +6/+6, because, yeah. And, maybe we can get some special defense drops with Shadow Ball, but, most people will probably speed this up, but, I am not, so I'm just going to keep clicking Shadow Ball. What I'm doing right here is running a calc to make sure that is indeed the sort of spread that he's at. And, he's just setting up Calm Minds. And, we're hoping for special defense drops, hoping for maybe a crit through all the special defense boosts with Calm Mind. And, again, the key point here is I do outspeed him, so I'll be able to react to whatever he does. And, when my taunt ends, which I think might be on this next turn, hang on, he's going to Psy Shock first, so it gets me down to about half. but leftovers kicks in, brings me back a little bit above half. And yeah, taunt wears off now, so he's got a decision to make. Does he want to reapply my taunt? As you can see, I click my move pretty quick, and pretty quick decision for him as well. He does want to reapply my taunt, make sure I can't do anything too crazy, but I'm just going to keep going for Shadow Ball, Shadow Ball, Shadow Ball, Shadow Ball, and all over the place. And I'm now at enough HP with that extra left he's gained to definitely live another Psyshock. And I actually go ahead and get a crit right there, and it almost takes him out. If that looks like if that crit did like one more point, I'll have to look and see on his side what it got, but or how far it got down to. But because he got that one more Psyshock off, it's gonna set up Bliss, and unfortunately not really range usable hit points, and it's gonna be really tough to preserve. But there you go. So Gothitelle was here to try to trap and kill Bliss. Well, Bliss ended up killing Gothitelle. Granted with the crit, but when you stay in that long using Shadow Ball that many times, it's probably gonna crit eventually. So that's how the cookie crumbles. But anyway, the cookie is gonna crumble now. I'm already probably running calcs right here, seeing how well, I guess he's got a couple things he can go into. This would actually be a really good time to potentially go into Mega Beedrill, because he wouldn't have to Mega Protect. He could U-turn, but instead he drops in Jolteon. And if he Volt Switches, then I've already ascertained that it's Specs. If he Volt Switches, I think I have a very slim chance to live. I decided to go ahead and click Soft Boiled here, and of course my taunt is actually still on, so I can't click Soft Boiled, which I think you'll see maybe pop up in a moment, as the only move I can click Shadow Ball or Switch. I don't really want to switch anyone else though. The only possible chance I have to get a Soft Boiled off at this point is to maybe come in on Sableye, and I just figure that's just not going to be worth it. Blissey got Stealth Rock up, she got Gothitelle KO'd, so I don't have to worry about that trapping anyone else potentially. So he actually just goes straight for T-Bolt, so there's that. So he stays in with Jolteon. Now because of this, I look over it, and I'm definitely gonna take my time here. I look at what he's got left, and he's got Jolteon, a probably Scarfed Chandelure, Sableye, and Mega Beedrill, all of which are after 1 DD, including the Scarf Chandelure, outsped and killed by Charizard, especially with Rocks damage. So unless we got some really crazy stuff, we don't have to worry about Focus Sash because of the Bliss, because of Rocks. So at this point, it looks like should just be able to drop in Charizard X, DD once, and then win the game from there, as he also doesn't have much in the way of priority to hit Zardex. So yeah, we're taking our time, but Zardex is going to come in, not take any Rocks damage or anything, and we're going to DD up and pretty much win the game from this point and pick up a 4-0. Yeah, no, 5-0 at this point. Yeah, we've only had Bliss dive, so we're going to take this T-Bolt. We're not going to enjoy it, but it should be the last attack that I have to eat for the rest of the game. As you can see, I've already clicked my move. We're going to click T-Bolt, and yeah, he can either stay in and go for the 10% chance, which of course, so much for the Charizard sweep. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about this after the game, but anyway, so I'm now paralyzed, but I can take another T-Bolt, so I'm just at this point Zard is not going to be able to sweep at all, and also Blissey just went down, so I'm just going to kill off this Jolteon, except the game doesn't even let me kill off the Jolteon. So there we go. We had Blissey is meant to be killed by Gothitelle, instead kills Gothitelle. This thing, Charizard, was kind of meant to take on Jolteon, instead gets killed by Jolteon. So yeah, that was the play that changed the game right there. Please post in the comments if you think it wouldn't have been a 5-0 Charizard sweep if he had he not gotten the para. If you see some way that he possibly could have gotten out of it. Because I'm interested in seeing that, if other people saw it differently. But anyway, so that's not what happened, though. So because the Parahax is what happened. So in comes Dusknoir, and we frisk it there, and 100% confirm that it is Choice Specs, because Noir, you cannot hide from his all-seeing eye of Frisk, and his arms waving around. And here we can do a couple of things. I could, unfortunately, I decided not to run EQ. I decided to Pain Split because this is probably going to do quite a bit, and looks like, we get a little bit up there, and I'm hoping I can just Shadow Sneak this thing and maybe take it out in 2 hits, but based on calcs, it doesn't look like it's going to. I'm actually going to go ahead and Protect here to get a little bit of extra lefties gain first and foremost, since he's obviously Specs. He's not going to be able to do any kind of setup move or anything like that. He definitely doesn't want to switch in Chandelure to take a Shadow Sneak. And here we go. We're going to sneak and see how much it does. And yeah, not anywhere near a 2-hit from there. So, yeah. So, Noir goes down pretty low HP. Might have actually been better to Pain Split right there. Maybe. Anyway, I think at this point I could either sneak again or go into something. And I think, looking at what he has left, I don't think Starmie is actually going to be very helpful at all. Considering he's got 2 ghosts, and his Stealth Rocker's already gone, if he even had Rocks on Clefable at all. So I don't need Starmie for spin. It's getting outsped by Jolteon. It will effectively get outsped by Mega Beedrill, because he will, of course, Mega Protect. The Chandelure is Scarfed, so it's going to get outsped by that, and it's probably not going to kill off Sableye very well at all. So that being said, I'm just going to end up going into Starmie for a sacrifice right here, and this is going to be to allow me to get in... I forget who offhand, but I am going to go into Starmie anyway. However, he actually doubles out into, or not doubles out, but switches at the same time anyway, into Sableye, and I'm not 100% sure why. I guess maybe predicting a Protect? I don't know. Anyway, so this is in here, and I kind of just want to give this thing as much damage as possible so that Aggron can be in range to KO it, so... Scalds, and I can see from that it looks like it's mostly specially defensive. He knocks off my leftovers, which does a good bit. Now I could recover right here and then proceed to take less damage from knockoff, but again, I brought Starmie in originally as a sack, and I don't want something dumb like a knockoff crit or something, and then, Sableye's still chilling at pretty good HP, and, whatnot. So I figure he won't try to recover spam or anything like that, because that's probably just going to get him burned in the long run. So I'm just going to go ahead and click Scald here, and get him down to really low HP. If we get a burn and a high roll, maybe we can go ahead and get it dead. But we'll see how it goes. I'm just going to click Scald, and he's going to think about what to do. And I believe he's going to end up going for knockoff after I Scald him down to in the red. And just going to let Starmie go down. It was brought in originally as a sacrifice anyway, so I'm fine with that, whatever. At that point, oh, that's right, the sack was to bring in Lucario. That's the thing I had left to try to E-speed Jolteon. And that was the goal all along. So, but here's Aggron, because I can't extreme speed Sableye. Now he's got kind of has a decision to make here. He can either burn Aggron, and Sableye's probably at too little HP to live whatever move I go for, or he can recover and be at higher HP. But then if I, I'm just that beastly with Head Smash or whatever, and proceed to, knock him out, then he doesn't have a burn on Aggron applied. So. Debate between Head Smash and Iron Head. Head Smash will definitely kill him if he recovers, and Iron Head has a chance to because he is, I can tell from the Scald damage, not physically defensive, more towards the special side. So I decide to go for Iron Head as he goes for Prankster Recover. Gets up to a pretty respectable amount of hit points, but Aggron does not have respect for that amount of hit points, so Aggron picks up his second kill of the match, second kill of the season, guaranteeing that he improves his differential, for his career this year, and then Chandelure comes in, and from here I don't really have anything else to sack right here, so unfortunately I'm just gonna have to permit Aggron to go down here. He might be able to endure a Shadow Ball if he goes for that, but he just goes for Overheat to make sure he gets the kill. Shadow Ball would probably kill anyway. I don't have the calc on me right now, but I'd imagine it would get at least close. It would probably kill. But anyway, so he's at -2 special attacks. This is a bit of an opportunity right now, and he's also locked into... I can go into Dusknoir right now, and 100% confirm that he is indeed Scarfed, which in my mind I've already made it up that yes, he's Scarfed, but we got 2 dudes left, and I kind of realized at this point, because he's got because Jolteon is still there, to allow him an extra switch out to reset his use of a choice move. To reset his use of Scarf, to switch moves, basically. Because Jolteon did not die to Charizard, he has this one if he plays it correctly, so it's just going to be, does he make a mistake, and can I, capitalize on that? So, right here, I'm just going to sneak with Dusknoir. I know I'll be able to 2-hit KO Jolteon if he brings that in. Mega Beedrill might be a bit of an issue, but he would not need to Mega Protect. In order to do stuff, but So yeah, you could switch in Mega Beedrill to take a sneak. I don't think I would be able to 2-hit KO it, but you know, maybe see, be down to 75%. I don't think Noir would quite do enough. But anyway, just gonna stay in for a sneak, and unfortunately, Dusknoir does not do quite enough. If Dusknoir could have done like about 4 to 5 more points, would have been nice, because then that thing would not have been able to switch in on stuff. So here's Crashman, and he's at -4, so he's at, what is that, third special attack. So probably won't be able to KO. So I'm just gonna go for a something here, which I think ends up to be a crunch, because there's really no reason not to. And he just brings this in for a sack, and then he's just gonna be able to bring in the Chandelure, because it didn't get down quite low enough from that Shadow Sneak. That's if I just put a little bit more attack EVs in you, then might have been better, because I got the Beedrill on lockdown too. It's gonna take 75%, like I think like 76% minimum from E-Speed, and of course he's gonna come into rocks. So you can just drop in Chandelure here, win the game, pick up a 2-0, but wait, he drops in Beedrill, and I'm not really sure why he did this. I think he told me that he did a bad calc, probably didn't. I mean, I had obviously shown him I had Life Orb there when I killed the Jolteon, so I think he had thought he could live a non-Life Orb Extreme Speed, but obviously here you can see I am Life Orb Extreme Speed, so he does, of course, Mega Protect. But if I have Bullet Punch, that would also be another reason. If he thought he could live it with Beedrill and thought I had Bullet Punch to hit Chandelure with, but I don't have Bullet Punch, I have V-Speed. Maybe some weeks I'll run double priority Lucario, but it was not this week. And yeah, I just, you know, check the calcs again. At this point, I'm curious if he's like in game. I'm wondering, like, is he just like dropping in Beedrill just to like give me a 1-0 instead of a 2-0 because he's being nice because of the Parahax? But that's not the case at all, I don't believe. So anyway, we're just gonna E-Speed here. Actually, no, this is the point in the game where I could potentially try to take the win by predicting him to switch out to Chandelure and crunching it. That's the only avenue I have to potentially win the game. But because this is a swing game where differential is going to be very big, I'm just not going to take any sort of risk. You know, it's an interesting thought that you know maybe he could get fancy, go back into Chandelure to dodge the E-Speed. But you know, ultimately it's like a 98% chance that he won't do that, and I would just basically be throwing away point of differential right there, which, again, because it's a swing point of differential, because it'll also decrease the amount he gains, it's just better worth it to just go ahead and, you know, accept the loss and go for the higher differential, as he will Flamethrower here. I was kind of hoping Overheat was his only fire move, and he would not be able, or he would miss it, but of course he does pack a safe Flamethrower as well. And so, yeah, there we go. We have a 1-0 loss to the Detroit Steel Wings. So, a disappointing result, but you know, I think it was a pretty good game. Nonetheless, you know, I think both of us played pretty well. Definitely very proud of Crimson after he had a very lackluster opening game. He definitely showed a lot of signs of improvement, so that was really cool to see. I think we both played, you know, pretty well. I don't think there were any major misplays by either side. Maybe a few things that we could have done, either of us could have done differently, but I don't think there was anything that was like monumentally earth-shattering. And yeah, so when that happens, oftentimes the game can just come down to hacks, which is pretty much what happened. You know, I got too early my way. In fact, I actually called the Parahax in game, so he probably deserves a Parahax right here. And it's probably true. He probably did deserve the Parahax. I don't know that he deserved the perfectly timed full para on the turn, you know, where the game let me get up the DD that was pointless, but then didn't let me kill the Jolteon. That would have provided one less, you know, switch out option for Shandy, for whatever that was worth. But yeah, I guess I just overall felt like, even though I got the flinch and the crit, I didn't really feel like those were as big, because, you know, I had already planned to not get them and knew how I was going to, you know, attack the game from there and still try to achieve my win condition without those, which was, you know, if Aggron goes down, fine, I have stuff still to come in and kill Clefable. You know, Goth is probably going to be down at a reasonably low amount of hit points, to where I've got, you know, several things that are, because once I knew Blissey was faster, I knew Aggron was faster than, etc., etc. I know he's specially defensive, so he's not going to be as bulky on the physical side, etc. So, I knew things that I was going to do to attack that without getting the hacks that I got. Unfortunately, the T-Bolt was just the biggest hacks of the game. So, I guess that leads into Pokemon of the game, which is gonna be Jolteon, because I can't really find anyone to speak notables of on my team. I will say, though, Aggron, don't blame this one on Aggron if any of you, for some reason, are like Aggron haters. Aggron did everything he was supposed to do. He destroyed everything that I told him to destroy. So, there you go. This was not Aggron's problem, so too bad. Aggron went plus differential in this game, so there you go. That's what he does. Jolteon, though. Yeah, so 2 KOs, 1 death. Probable? Question mark. Again, let me know in the comments if you think that if you saw something that would have let Charizard not sweep through the rest of the guys at that point. Game-saving T-Bolt Para on the Zardex. And again, the weird thing that happened with this game, Jolteon KO'd the 2 things that were meant to take it on, which were Blissey. Obviously Gothitelle set it up with getting it down really low, and then of course Charizard off the T-Bolt Para. So the 2 things I had to take on Jolteon got beat by Jolteon. He had Gothitelle that was in there to beat Blissey and got killed by Blissey. So, except Gothitelle arguably still did its job by effectively removing Blissey. It just Jolteon got the kill credit, so whatever. But anyway, I guess that's about it. Again, we will play Crimson in week 5, so after 2 more games. So I'll go ahead then and not talk too much more about this, because we got into the game to keep any sort of planning secrets secret until then. Let's go ahead and look into the next week. And this might be the marquee matchup of the week, as this I think is the only pairing of 2 current division leaders. The Winnipeg Aquajets and Hank the Pidgey starting off 2-0 at +8, leading the Ruby division. And you can see we're, of course, at 1-1, +5, which is the highest differential we could be at, being 1-1. And we're actually still first place in the Diamond division. Of course, Crimson is 1-1 at -4, as you saw that in this game. And then maybe the biggest shock of the week, last week's opponent, Old Man Tup, did me a solid and handed John his 2nd loss of the season. So John is 0-2, but only at -2, so he's still keeping it really close. So John's actually at 3rd right now, but I feel like the Pelipers are about to get their 2nd wind right now, because John's going to be coming home from college, and I think he's about to kick it into high gear and start ratcheting up some wins. So I've got a bit of a lead right now, and this is definitely a need-to-win game to make sure we keep that edge on, because we'll have John the week after this. So there you go. Hank's got a pretty brutal regenerator core that he has brought the past 2 weeks, so I'm not super well versed in facing regenerator, since again it was a 5th gen introduced ability. But we definitely have some, we got a little bit of footage to study here, and we'll see what we can do and cook up to beat that regenerator core and not get swept by his various things that he could definitely have to do mean stuff. Mega Pinsir put up 6 KOs this week against the Sawsbucks, so jumping, I'm pretty sure, to 1st in the MVP race off 1 game's worth of kills, really, +1 from week 1. Yeah, just in general, this was like voodoo going on, especially in the Sinnoh Conference this week, as every match in the Sinnoh Conference was a 1-0, and there was like crazy hacks going on in each one of the games. Several of the Hoenn Conference games were, I think one of the Hoenn Conference games was pretty close, and the other 2 were kind of more blowouts. But Sinnoh Conference games were super tight and close this week, so hopefully you guys enjoyed those, because that's what we're trying to do. But I guess that's pretty much gonna wrap it up for this. We now have a full week's worth of GBA stuff going on the channel. We've got the weekly recaps, the plays of the week by Danza. We got the power rankings, which this is a call out to you, Danza and Tom. You guys put me number 1. I mean, it wasn't the worst spot you could have put me, but that would have been like number 2 or number, I don't know, some even number. But you guys didn't put me number 3. I lost this week 1-0. You could argue that I did that for you guys, so I lost 1-0. I was number 1. Put me at number 3. Put me in the spot that I'm supposed to be at, guys. Come on. Don't make me do this. Don't make me have to adjust my win ratios to suit your guys' needs. Anyway, lost track of what I was talking about. Yes, and I think Around the Rhyhorn should be going up. I'm filming this Saturday, so hopefully it's up by now, and I haven't checked it yet. But I'm arguably more excited for Around the Rhyhorn than I am the actual games. So there you go. Hopefully it's been hopefully that is going to be end up being a great series that I haven't got a chance to watch yet. So, and then of course we'll have our articles up on the GBA website, so you definitely go check those out and read those too. So yeah, we got a full week of stuff we've got up now. So hopefully we'll keep that degree of content coming your way every week for the rest of the season and going into the playoffs. So I guess one final note. If you thought Cooper talked too much about boo-hoo, I got paralyzed on Zardex, leave a dislike on this video if you thought Cooper talked too much about the Zardex para. Or just leave a dislike in general if you didn't like that Zard got paralyzed. I don't know, just leave dislikes if you want to. Because the thing is, if you leave a like, people do that all the time. But if you leave a dislike, it means that you paid attention and listened to the video, and that's cool. So